Okay, joining us now, NBC's Julie Sturcom reporting on Capitol Hill. New York Times reporter Charlie Savage and Elise Jordan, former aide to President George W. Bush in the White House and State Department, and an MSNBC political analyst. Julie, every time I see that clip, I laugh right along. But the question seems to be gift or grift. What are you hearing from Republicans?
I think Republicans are trying to figure that out themselves. A lot of them are having this news broken to them by us yesterday. That was certainly Cynthia Lummis's position there, who found out about it for the first time from us. We've been talking to Republicans all day long about this, asking them specific questions. How would they feel if, let's say, President Biden was accepting a $400 million gift from a foreign government? How would they feel, for example, if the president used it during his time in office, if he plans to use it after, if he plans to park it at a museum? There are so many questions to ask about this, including whether taxpayers will be on the hook. As Ryan just alluded to, of course, they would need more money to be able to sweep it, take it apart, put it back together. I want you to take a listen to a little bit of a mash, and we'll dig in more on the other side.
It's a nice gesture, but I think maybe the thing to do is to say, hey, we appreciate it, but there's a lot of other things you could help us out with.
I got no problem with that. I mean, it's made in America, made by Boeing. I don't think that President Trump, he doesn't need a bribe.
You got to work through the cost benefit of it, right? I mean, we're in a world of Doge, so we got to figure out whether it's worth upfitting or writing a check, selling it and writing a check to the Treasury and help us with our debt reduction.
Senator Kevin Cramer told me, what's the difference? We have a Statue of Liberty from France. I actually asked him what his reaction would be if this were Biden. He said, well, I look up at that TV and I see a vibrant celebrity who's engaged in, quote, adult conversations on the world stage. So he doesn't think this is comparable to Biden, who he said, in his words, was not active. I do think this is something, though, that Republicans maybe publicly are playing off, but privately are concerned about. I talked to one Senate Republican just a few minutes ago before I came on your show, Chris, who raised, forget about the emoluments clause, which of course requires congressional approval for the president to be able to accept any foreign gifts. There might be laws in place, and there are laws in place for what kind of vehicle, the mode of transportation the president uses, since he is planning to use this at some point in office, according to his own words. Can he even do it? This senator thinks this is a lot of talk right now, but it's an issue that's going to go away. We'll see.
Yeah, and Charlie, you wrote about something a lot of people are talking about, the ethical alarms, and you say that compared to Trump's first term, they seem trivial compared to this. So set the stage for us as President Trump actually is preparing to go from Saudi Arabia, where he is right now, to Qatar.
Yes, this plane controversy is just really the latest in a series of ways in which the second Trump administration has really unleashed a no-holds-barred aggression in terms of mixing private gain for the Trump family and people and entities in Trump's orbit with his public office. There was the unbelievably large amount of money they raised for their inauguration festivities, $250 million. There's no way they spent anywhere near that on a few events and dinners. What's going to happen to the rest of that money? They have this cryptocurrency venture where they started a meme coin, and crypto investors around the world can enrich Trump just by trading that coin. He gets fees, and now he's auctioning off face-to-face access to himself and a White House tour for the largest holders of that cryptocurrency, which further spurs interest in this buying these coins that are worth billions of dollars to him, at least on paper, for now. And his sons have been ahead of this trip in the Middle East. We're running around the Middle East, striking off billions of dollars worth of business deals for new golf courses and buildings and resorts and towers with various Middle East entities, obviously something that would be of greater interest to powerful, rich people in the Middle East because of the president, to say nothing of a new $500,000 a member club that Donald Trump Jr. and his business partners are starting in Washington, D.C. And so this free plane comes on the heels of this enormous pattern. I've just mentioned a few of them. We could keep going for minutes and minutes, but this is TV, so I won't. That's really crystallizing that this is the limits of propriety, whatever the law or ethics or whatever that we thought governed public service, or even the concerns that people had about people buying meals and booking hotel rooms in the first term are just nothing compared to this orgy that we're seeing right now.
And just take one of them, Elise, $400 million for the plane. And Charlie reports on this in the Times today. The administration, though they signed off on it, they haven't made public their analysis, why they think that this is okay. And we should also say that Pam Bondi was a highly paid lobbyist.
Well, exactly, as Charlie wrote in his excellent article. This is so ethically dubious, wrong. I mean, it's just wrong. This, idea that
beyond dubious,
absolutely beyond. I mean, I was too tempered. It's completely wrong, but it also is just stupid. Why are we taking a plane that we would have to completely retrofit, and it doesn't even have the refueling capacity to take the president of the United States, so that the president can be in the airspace for an unlimited amount of time? It's just not practical. It makes no sense.
So does it raise an ethical question for you? Let's say that they come to the conclusion it's not practical, it's too costly, but it's a gift that Donald Trump could use after he leaves office.
Well, what I'm wondering about is the fact that Donald Trump is willing to make this the news focus right now. What are we missing about what's happening with these trips? What is the purpose of Saudis, the Emiratis, Qatar this week? Is there something else going on that's bigger than just a horribly ethically wrong gift? There is so much more to this story.
Well, let me play the legal concerns and security concerns, right? The security concerns raised by Senator Rick Scott today. Let me play that.
Qatar's not, in my opinion, a great ally. I mean, they support Hamas. And so what I'm worried about is the safety of the President of the United States.
Do you have any idea how much it would cost to sweep the plane and ensure there are no listening devices?
I don't know how you would be able to do that if you don't, you don't build it from scratch.
Talk a little bit about the security protocols involved in something like this.
Think of it's the command control center for the president. Think of all the technology. Think about how the wings have to be every inch. What if the plane was designed to crash? There are so many what ifs and possibilities. You can't just send the president of the United States up on any random aircraft. And you certainly don't. It's going to take years. I understand he's upset about Boeing being so behind, 5 years or so behind on the new Air Force One. But why not just kick Boeing and say, get the plane done? We can't even today. It's baffling that we can't even get an Air Force One finished. And how would we deal with what America did for World War II and manufacturing and getting that war machine ready? It's pretty abysmal.
So I guess the question, Charlie, is after the Supreme Court granted immunity to Trump essentially for actions as president of the United States, and he clearly thinks all of this is covered by it, or is certainly not concerned about it. In fact, he said it would be stupid not to take the plane. It begs the question, where does this end, or with whom, or what?
Yeah, I think Trump is clearly emboldened by the Supreme Court's ruling granting him immunity for official actions last year. And it also, even before Trump in 2016, there was a famous case where the Supreme Court narrowed what counts as an official act for the purpose of bribing public officials in a case involving eliminating the conviction of the Virginia governor, Bob McDonnell, for corruption charges. And so it's just the legal parameters and guardrails around bribery are much diminished today. And that's the climate in which this is operating. I do have to say, I think the people talking about emoluments, so we saw Senator Schumer there in a clip ahead of this, may be a little bit off because, as I understand it, this plane would go to the Department of Defense, not to Trump personally. I think that the bigger legal issue is his plan to transfer it to his museum foundation in 2029. It's just not clear to me why that would be in the public interest. And that's where it gets much closer to being, a toy for him to use for the rest of his life.
Charlie Savage, Julie Sirkin, Elise Jordan, thank you. Be sure to watch Elise Jordan every Saturday and Sunday, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern. She's the co-host of the new panel show, The Weekend Prime Time. We were discussing the fact that she either has the pleasure or the challenge of sitting next to the two best dressed men.
I know, right? It was a lot of pressure, but I think hopefully I passed the test.